Good morning to you. How you doing?
I'm good, sir. Good morning to yourself.
Henry Shefflin's voice was a little bit hoarse there. I know league isn't supposed to count for that much, but he was obviously shouting his head off.
He was, yeah. But to be fair, no matter what dressing room Henry will go into, no matter what colour the jersey or the county, he's going to command respect straight away, and there's going to be a kick. And to be fair, we saw it yesterday, and they were really up for it, and a very honest assessment out of him there. They let down the smaller marker, even though he's quite aware that it's a second league game and it's a second week in February. But yeah, it was a very good performance from Galway.
As neutrals, we are all hoping that we're going to see Limerick tested in a really meaningful way over the next couple of seasons. And I know that's difficult for Limerick people to fully want to happen, but certainly there is a kick in this Galway side. There has been a response. They have the physicality that will allow them to at least go toe-to-toe with Limerick. So it's setting up for a nice rivalry.
Yeah, without a doubt, and I suppose the proof will be in the pudding when you come back in about 10 or 12 weeks' time. It's pretty obvious from the naked eye when you're looking at Limerick in the last two league games. There's a lot of puffing, a lot of panting. So that tells me there isn't a whole pile of work being done at present. But a major plus yesterday, and in fairness to Ciaran Carey, he's been very consistent in this in the last number of years, using the league for developing players, and they're after finding a very good one yesterday in Cathal O'Neill. So they'll be adding to it, even though the two results haven't been great, but he'll be extremely happy with Cathal O'Neill yesterday, coming away with 4 points to play.
Tell us about Cathal, will you?
Yeah, well, I've seen him last year a few times, the early stages of the league with Cork, but obviously prior to that, I've seen him at minor and at 21 level, and he's been awesome at both grades. He takes authority, whether he's centre forward or half forward. He's able to take a pop pass. But yesterday, his 4 points that he got, they were all different. Yesterday was a huge test for him because he's going to meet no one physically as stronger than the Galway outfit or the Galway players. And there was 2 balls that really popped out to him. Most inter-county players, if they have a bit of time, a bit of space, they'll split the post. But he was able to win his own 50-50 ball, put it over the bar, win a few frees and create a few scores. So he's going to be a big one out for this year.
You'd kind of almost take 14 bad Limerick performances as long as he played well over the weekend. That was kind of the most important thing that Ciaran Carey would have been looking for on Saturday.
Yeah, well, he would have been looking for, obviously, the attitude had to change against Offaly, and definitely it did crank up a few notches. But I'd say they probably weren't really, ready for Henry, managing Galway, and Galway coming down, and, Limerick are preparing for a 3 in a row. So Galway, whether it was Galway, Wexford, Kilkenny, Tipperary, Cork, every county team out there presently at the moment are waiting and mad for a cut-off Limerick. And Limerick need to be mentally, psychologically ready for that.
Is there anything at all that you've seen in the opening couple of weeks that would concern you, Ciaran, or have you written everything off as just early season and lack of preparation?
Yeah, I suppose they're possibly slightly derailed, slightly. There's a lot going on. I suppose I'm watching all interviews after matches. They're slightly different what they were before. Small bit of a squeeze put on. And the big one here is, time out they call in basketball. The water breaks definitely is going to unset Limerick slightly, because Limerick used those 2 water breaks to organise, regroup and plan for the next quarter. So you're gone from 4 quarters of hurling down to 2 second halves. So, and I suppose they will, to be fair, they will counteract that in some shape or some form, because whatever was put in front of them the last number of years, they were able to jump the fence and apply what they need to apply. But this is new territory to them now, to kind of back to kind of half-time hurling. So, and I suppose there's a process getting used to that. But would I be pressing the panic button yet? No, not a hope of it.
You said the proof will be in the pudding in around 10 or 12 weeks' time. Is Galway going to be the team that will concern them the most at the outset, do you reckon? Potentially,
my own personal opinion, yeah. But they have a fair tough few fences to jump themselves. But by the time they are going to cross swords with Limerick, they have a lot of hurling to play, a lot of water under the bridge by the time they come across Limerick, whether it's a quarter, semi or a final. And, if they get that far and Limerick progress that far, then you have a humdinger of a semi-final or a final.
The one thing that happened last year in the league was that there were several flashpoints that point you make, I think, about everybody's is dying for a cut off Limerick. Limerick obviously are not taking a step back when there is any kind of a schmozzle or a row. Limerick have decided they're going to meet fire with fire, and I can, it's obviously worked for them. Is there any concern in that every team realises now that at some point in the game there will be a flashpoint, and just that referees start to look a little bit more closely at the All-Ireland champions and decide, okay, well, you can't get away with stuff because, for whatever reason, the spotlight is going to be that much more intense.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah, 110%, and it'll be on the top three guns, really. And, but yesterday, if you watch Galway, during the whole hours of hurling, they played a chart, they went long, but I suppose I was hugely impressed with, I suppose, they were hunting in packs. And, they overturned Limerick yesterday on numerous occasions, which is also very new territory for Limerick. So, if you are going to derail Limerick and catch them on any given day, first of all, you have to match them for strength, power, pace and speed. And after that, then if you come up with some kind of a formula that can stunt them, and, and I suppose for you then as a team to implement what you want to do, you're there with a great chance. And I suppose looking at the evidence of yesterday, I suppose Galway are coming pretty close to that.
What about specifically the issue of discipline? Are you concerned in any way that Limerick are prone to little bouts of indiscipline within games?
I would, to be fair, and I suppose the discipline wouldn't be it's not being highlighted as much when you're winning league titles, when you're winning Munson championships, and when you're All Ireland. You're kind of covering over the cracks. But myself personally, I have a slight issue with Limerick with the discipline. Yeah, and even when a player, because they're all big, strong men, but even when they are breaking the tackles, a few of them have kind of bad habits of kind of flicking back, and they're all free. So discipline going forward will be huge for Limerick, and anything above the shoulder up is a total no-go here with the hurley or the arm. How
do you fix that though? Because there's this. There was a lifelong debate when Wayne Rooney was in his pomp about how do you quell his anger issues. That's if you stop that, that's like he becomes a lesser player. It turned out he had anger issues separately in real life as opposed to just on the football field. Like what can you do as a group to say we can still be the same hurlers, even better perhaps if we're not giving away frees, without resorting to or having that little flick back or getting involved in these fights?
Yeah, well, any player going out tomorrow morning, take the title out of it with a county jersey, you're going to be out there hopefully emotionally balanced, and that in itself is a skill. But if there's any bit of extra resentment or a bit of anger that's kind of in the head when you go on the field, it's inevitable it's going to come out. So obviously the backroom team need to take stock, and obviously if there's someone there that's consistent with the flicking and the tapping, he needs to be pulled aside. And if there's extra help required in, so be it.
Yeah, because it's hard to see anybody matching the skill. Galway seem to be able to match the physicality. There's certainly going to be a game if they do meet each other in Croker or Semple or wherever that might come down the road. Is there anybody else out there at the moment whose form you like or who you think are in any way close to bridging the gap?
Yeah, and I suppose if you take Cathal O'Neill yesterday, for example, it's his first chance this year, if you like. He got a few goals last year, but inevitably, in fairness to John Kiley, he obviously judges matches, but no different to Brian Cody. He obviously, goes a lot on training. And like Cathal O'Neill yesterday, he's after well and truly putting his hand up, and that's what an inter-county player must do as a sub coming on. If you want to take part and if you want to be on 1 to 15, you have to come on, you have to be consistent, and you have to do that 3 or 4 games in a row. There's no point coming one and playing one good game in 5 or 6, and I suppose the Limerick's bench, going by the last 2 games, they need to look at themselves and they need to come up to the mark, because, there's a good few players, forwards missing, and if there's forwards missing, if you get your chance, well, there's only one way to highlight it, and, that's to ignite on any day you go out.
On the other, probably the couple of other games that really caught the eye at the weekend, obviously you had Wexford getting the job done against Clare yesterday, and Kilkenny Tip naturally was the one that was going to catch most of the attention yesterday, which was the later game on TG Cahir. How much did you learn from either of these two teams yesterday? Obviously Tipperary under new management, and at the start yesterday they won't be overly complaining about any win against Kilkenny, I'd imagine.
No, and even though it is earlier on in the league, there's a sense of kind of watching a few of the games yesterday that you're nearly playing in the quarter-final of the league. So there's a lot at stake. Watching Tipperary and Kilkenny, yeah, very good game. It is obvious Tip have come with a new type of style, And, there's a bit of Limerick-like about it. They're working it out, going through the lines. And but having said that, Kilkenny were thereabouts. I was extremely impressed with Kilkenny this time last year. They were very lucky, I suppose, not to get to the final. So they'll be in the hunt. And I suppose Colin Bonner in his first year, he will want to put down a fair statement on his first year manager. But Kilkenny and Tip, they're going to be in the melting pot come the business end of this, and that's for sure.
Have you ever seen anything like the late goal for Ballygunner on Saturday?
Oh no, it was I suppose I've been through two types of emotions. Lovely for Ballygunner to come on and win it, and I suppose Ballyhale, what a sickener, what a way to lose the game. And to be fair, they were comfortable for the last 10 minutes, and they nearly crossed the line. But in the modern game, especially the formula and the type of hurling, the way it's being played, anything can happen in the game of hurling presently. So it's definitely down to the last whistle. And so I'd mixed emotions, delighted for Ballygunner, but definitely felt for Ballyhale.
Yeah, some finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. And you know what now, it's going to be a huge boost for Waterford as well going forward. And I think it's important to mention too, Ty DeBoer, when he's come back there yesterday as well, and great to see him back. He's going to add an awful lot of experience now. Great defender, great player, and very versatile. So best wishes to him. Great to see him back.
Ciaran, great stuff. Great to have you with us. Thanks a million.
Okay, God bless. Bye.
Ciaran Carey giving us some thoughts there on the weekend's hurling. Maybe the 1994 All-Ireland hurling final, fairly.
Well, I thought that's where he was going to take that there when he was talking about mixed emotions. Late goals in hurling probably have a sore point with a lot of Limerick people.
Have you ever seen a match? Oh yeah, sorry, you lost an All-Ireland final like that. Good, nice of you to remind him of it. On Monday morning, he's just there. This is great. I'm going to go on to chat with the lads. You're like, can I just parse over the most difficult moment of your career, please?
Yeah, I hope he's there are Limerick hurlers, believe it or not, children that have gone through bad times in the past. It hasn't all just been sunshine and rainbows for people from that county.